Hi everyone, welcome to session 2 of the RIAK to the Limit series. My name's Rich, I'm the head coach and founder of RIAK Fitness. We're a coaching outfit specialising in bespoke training plans, coaching relationships with triathletes and cyclists and any other crazy endurance athletes. We're getting started with the session about 15 seconds or so. So I'll just get ready to pedal. We've got a cracking session for this second session in the To The Limit series. Now, for anybody that is new to this series, as we get going with the warm-up, if anyone's new to this series, each of our different kind of group workout series, they have a different focus, a specific objective, and I would say that this series is probably our purest kind of conditioning series. We've done FTP Builder series, which are largely threshold focused, and we've done a recent Discovery series, which is all about kind of rider profiling and teaching people a little bit about themselves as a rider. Now this is just kind of hard and fast, pure conditioning work, and we've got some really good high quality sets coming your way. In this session we've got our first introduction to kind of VO2 max work. In the last session we had like said a little hello to it with the final interval, but in this session, yeah, we've got some hard work coming your way. So really good session. We're starting off with a nice warm-up as always. Nice random 11 minutes rather than the normal 10. So we've got a 3-minute sector at the end of the warm-up before we then start that rapid build section that you can see, that second kind of more aggressive build section. Then a bit of cruising, a bit of chatting, before we get into kind of the main focus of today's session, the sweet spot efforts with the VO2 max lifts. Now, sweet spot, for anyone that's not aware, it's an effort kind of just underneath your threshold. It's not really a scientific term, it's just basically an effort kind of just underneath your threshold, usually set at around 90% of FTP. It's a near threshold effort before we then lift up to that VO2 max effort. Okay, I'll give you more specifics in terms of power types, etc. kind of as we get closer, but basically, for anyone that's unfamiliar with the VO2 max terminology as well, basically VO2 max is the maximum volume of oxygen that your body can process, essentially take in at any one point. So the point being that kind of once you go beyond your VO2 max power, the power that you're putting out whilst you're at that kind of tipping point, once you go beyond that, you're almost working predominantly anaerobically. You just cannot take in enough oxygen to buffer the build-up of lactate and hydrogen ions. Now, how does that differ to your FTP? Well, your FTP is kind of when that process starts. You know, you're where your body stopped kind of being able to take in enough oxygen to kind of keep up. And VO2 max is kind of like the peak, the tipping point at which you're kind of working very much your anaerobic energy systems. Because that's one key point to know, is that your body basically uses different ways of producing energy depending on whether you're working aerobically or anaerobically. So we're not going to go into that in too much detail. If you're really interested in more of the science behind this stuff, then we encourage you to check out our cycle seminars, or you can join our Monday session, which is where we often talk about this stuff. But just suffice to say, in terms of kind of perceived effort, effort out of 10, for the sweet spot efforts, we're talking about sort of a 7 out of 10. And then for the VO2 max efforts, it's a 9 out of 10. Okay, so they're beefy. So that's kind of the two middle blocks, those two middle intervals. And then we basically finish off with another build section at the end. And just to cap it all off, finish off with a little sprint. We're doing the whole session in erg mode. Often when we're doing sessions, we encourage people to turn erg mode off, and that's so that it doesn't limit your power. But in this session, nice and simple, erg mode on, and just getting on with it really, as we work our way through the warm-up. Just a quick little reminder, everyone, that if you want to get in touch, you want to ask any questions, always feel free. So if anyone on Zoom, you can just unmute yourself and ask away, or use the Zoom chat, or for anybody watching the live stream, if it's still live, that is, and you're not watching it on demand. I mean, obviously, you can still leave your comments if you're watching it on demand, but anyone watching the live stream as we're going, do feel free to drop your comments on the live stream. We are across those. You always ask any questions. Doesn't have to be, well, it has to be trading related. I don't think anyone really wants to ask about my star sign or whatever, but yeah, do feel free to drop us your questions as we go, and we'll try and get through them. Alternatively, guys, you can also use the RDT chat to drop a message in there. So we've got the rubber banding effect on for this set, so we should all hopefully largely stay together. But yeah, for now, just relax. We're about halfway through the warm-up. Just make sure you're keeping your leg speed reasonably high, so upwards of at least 80 RPM now, as we're creeping up to about 68% of FTP. Give me, I've got a little bit of a cough at the moment, so I'll try not to cough into the microphone too much. Sometimes it just gets you. So spinning up nice and easy, taking on the fluids. Always a good idea as you're warming up to kind of keep the fluids coming on board, particularly if you're training early morning. It does just help you wake up a little bit. Again, hydration and kind of what goes on with your blood plasma, etc. We've talked about in other sessions, and in particular we have a cycle seminar on hydration and the power of it, and why it's important, what happens to your body as you kind of go through it. We do have quite an extensive on-demand library. If you go to our website, we particularly like to kind of specialise in sessions that provide knowledge rather than just conditioning. Try to give you a little bit of knowledge as well. So check out our cycle seminar. We've got 3 series up there at the moment. With some really good high quality advice there, and also a session to go along with the coaching video. So check it out, some really good stuff there. Now that you're probably just concentrating on the job in hand. So we're coming up to this final step in the warm-up. Once we get through that, we're going to be at about 72% of FTP for that final 3-minute section of the warm-up, and then we get into a ramp. Starting off with, each section is a minute. Starting off with 1 minute at about 80% of FTP, a minute at 90 at that sweet spot that I talked about earlier, a minute at your FTP, and a minute at VO2 max level, which you're going to be experiencing more of today, and that's at around 115% of FTP. As we're going through that, and I'll prompt you as we go, what I'd like you to do is to kind of actively manage and actively lift your cadence as we go through that ramp section. Okay, I'll talk you through it as we go. One thing you're going to need for this session is a nice high cadence. Okay, particularly those VO2 sections, and particularly because we're running the session in erg mode, it's going to be a challenge to keep your leg speed nice and high and efficient. Okay. All right, so it's about 2 minutes left. of this final step in the warm-up. So at around 72% of FTP, so getting towards the top end of what we call zone 2. For those that aren't familiar with your training zones, basically there's 7 training zones. We're at zone 2, so kind of an endurance effort, your long sort of effort you put in your long base rides. And then zone 7 is kind of max sprint for less than sort of 30 seconds, and then everything in between. So I'll be talking through those training zones as we go through the ramp as well. Now, just last minute, get some more fluids on board. Let's get ready to go. So in terms of leg speed, in terms of your cadence, like to be probably over 85 RPM now. And then just first little reminder to relax in the shoulders. Draw your shoulders away from your ears, soften the elbows. Just chill, just relax the upper body a bit. All the tension should be in your legs. Last 10 seconds, let's get ready to do some hard work then. We've got a very quick round. Each step is a minute long, starting off at what we call tempo, which is we're at zone 2 now. This is zone 3. So in terms of kind of like the effort, should be like a 6 out of 10, albeit you're hopefully nice and fresh. So it shouldn't feel too hard, just a slightly stronger effort. And this is, as I say, zone 3. About 80% of FTP. Okay, so pick that leg speed up well above 85 RPM now. Still relatively relaxed, albeit just working a bit harder. Come up to the last few seconds before we then step it up another notch up into sweet spot. Here we go then, up to sweet spot we go. So this is 90% of FTP. We're going to go doing some intervals at this level shortly. So as I say, sweet spot isn't a scientific term. It's basically kind of on the cusp between zone 3 and zone 4. It's the point below your aerobic threshold. But it's 90% of FTP, and as a general rule what we say is 90% of FTP, we want to be 90 RPM and above on that cadence. Okay, so really spinning out again, relaxing. As best we can, albeit now working reasonably hard for another 10 odd seconds. So we're going up to 100% of FTP into zone 4. Here we go. So up to threshold. So functional FTP stands for functional threshold power. You use that term interchangeably with threshold or aerobic threshold. They all mean the same thing. It's just that tipping point at which you start to work more and more anaerobically before you get to that VO2 max, which is kind of the peak, the no way back point before you go pretty much entirely anaerobic. Okay, so nice high leg speed, pick with something close to around 100 RPM, really picking it up now. So as I say, as we're going through this ramp, I want you to try and pick up that leg speed as we go. So you see the target is around 105 RPM. Let's try and get that for at least. And then as we get into the VO2 max effort, we want that cadence well above 100 RPM. Here we go, come on. So really spin up those legs. This is going to be hard. This is a 9 out of 10 effort. This is zone 5, your VO2 max power. Let's really go for it. Let's wake ourselves up. Let's get going for the hard session ahead. Halfway, just 30 seconds. Nearly there. Nice high leg speed, remember, well over 100 RPM. And relax. Well done. Okay, great stuff. So that's the end of the build. You can chill. We've got a nice 5 minutes cruise section. Back down at about 65% of FTP. Back down to that zone 2 level. Once you've recovered from that ramp, it should start to feel like probably a 4 out of 10 effort. Okay. So just talk you through these two kind of mean looking blocks that we've got ahead of us. So they're sweet spots, kind of time trial type efforts with a VO2 max lift at the end. And what we're working really on here is that ability to really kind of step up when you're already working hard, to kind of grit the teeth and take it to the next level. You do any kind of racing, stepping up from kind of a near threshold level up towards the VO2 max area is crucial for any kind of racing, really. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You need that ability to kind of kick and kind of turn yourself inside out, for want of a less horrible phrase. So in this instance, we're working for 4 minutes at sweet spot, so 4 minutes at 90% of FTP. Then we're going to kick it up to VO2 max for 3 minutes at 115% of FTP. Okay, then got a lovely 3.5 minutes of pure recovery, just really, really easy. So you've got 2 rounds of that. And then we get into that final kind of extended ramp section at the end of the session. And there, it's a bit easier. Okay, so we start off with 3 minutes at around 80% of FTP, 3 minutes at 90%, and then just 1 minute at VO2 max, and then just finishing it all off with a 20-second sprint. Okay, so basically, guys, when we've done the session in the past with our athletes or with other sessions, I always say, just really focus on getting through these 2 middle efforts, okay, because they're the hardest. Get through those in that third and final kind of build section is much easier. You seem to get through it with much less of an issue. Okay, so really focus on kind of keeping your leg speed high and just driving your way through these 2 sweet spot threshold lifts. Okay, so as I say, these are really important types of efforts to do if you do any kind of racing. As I said right at the start, our aim with this series is to really, it's pure conditioning, it's just hitting you hard basically. This is a progressive series, so in this session we are at about 65%, at 65 TSS. So if you're familiar with TSS, which stands for training stress score, it's basically an attempt to quantify the training effect of the session. So it's a combination of intensity and duration. Basically just tells you how hard the session is. So as we go through the series, we'll be stepping up from this current level of 65 TSS, peaking at around 75, 80 TSS. So you really want to stick with this series, and you can do it every week, and alongside with some good low intensity training, pretty much guarantee you'll get fitter. Actually, I never could guarantee anything. we can reassure you that you're most likely to get fitter. Okay, so we've just got 1 more minute of cruising at about 65% of FTP, and then we start to turn the screw, start to crank it up for that first sweet spot effort. Okay, so just try and keep it nice and relaxed for now. Cadence upwards of 80 RPM. and just enjoying the relative calm for the storm. There's a quick reminder though that if you've got any questions at any point, do feel free to ask, and we'll cover those questions off when we get to recovery intervals. Right, so we've got 20 seconds to go, so let's just start getting our mind engaged. Let's start focusing on what we've got to do. So we're going to kick up to 90% of FTP in about 10 seconds. That means taking the cadence upwards of 90 RPM as well. Let's get ready to do the business. Come on, guys. Let's get ready. Here we go. 2, 1. Right, let's lift it. So 90% of FTP, 90 RPM and above. So this, as we build up to power, should feel like a 7 out of 10 effort. You know, a relatively hard effort. And once we're up to power, got the leg speed where it needs to be, let's relax. Okay, so draw the shoulders away from the ears, soften the elbows. What that's going to do is just plant your bum on the saddle, give you a stronger foundation for producing a nice consistent power. Okay, sounds stupid when we're working hard to say relax, but honestly, if you can relax in the upper body, it creates like a little bit of a suspension system, keeps your upper body still, and just allows the legs to do the work. First minute down at sweet spot. Just keep it going, guys, nice and smooth, nice and high cadence, so 90 RPM and above. Nice and steady, approaching halfway point in this sweet spot effort. A reminder again to relax, just drawing the shoulders down. Right, the bum on the saddle, keep the leg speed nice and high. Now the biggest challenge on that leg speed is to keep it high when we get into that VO2 max effort. Power's going to want to drag you down. You're going to have to battle to keep your leg speed upwards of 100 RPM when we get there. Still just 90 seconds left to sweet spot though. Right, 45 seconds, let's start getting ourselves pumped, okay? We've got a big hard effort coming up, 3 minutes at 115% of FTP. This is going to be tough, all right? But you've got to be equal to it, so you've got to get yourself pumped up, mentally ready for it, ready to do some hard work. Pick up the leg speed, you've got 30 seconds. Remember these 2 middle efforts are the mountains to climb. Get over those, that final third kind of interval block. It's going to be much easier. So let's really focus on driving through these, getting aggressive, doing some damage. Let's get ready, 10 seconds, come on. Getting ready to pick it up, off sweet spot up to VO2 max. Here we go, come on. 115% of FTP, 9 out of 10 effort. VO2 max for 3 minutes. Big effort, let's go guys. 30 seconds in. Nice and strong, nice high leg speed, remember. Well over 100 RPM. Right, come out towards the first minute down. 2 to go. Okay, you're over halfway now, just less than 90 seconds left of really hard work. Remember, you've got a pure recovery interval after this, so don't hold back, just stay strong. It's about 70 seconds. To the final minute. 45. Stay strong all the way. Last 30. Push, 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 push. "20 seconds, you're so close now, keep it going. "10. Come on, all the way to the end. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. Well done. Well done. Just spin up. Super easy now. Just get your breath back. Just relax. Once you kind of gathered yourself, just bring your leg speed back above 80 so you're pedaling nice and efficiently. It will help you recover just a little bit, but it saves you pushing sort of too much power at sort of 50, 60 RPM. Spin up the legs, help flush out some of the lactate. And you inevitably will have accrued. Just relax, well done. So that's the first of 2 of these step up blocks done. Now don't worry if you found that particularly hard. I often find when I do a session like this, the first rep, the first interval is disproportionately hard, and then kind of you're kind of more awake. You're ready for the next one. So don't be, if you found that super hard, don't be down on yourself. Just get recovered, get the fluids back on board, and let's get ready to do battle again. And you might just find that your legs are a little bit more switched on. Here it comes to the next one. Either way, just stay positive, stay relaxed. Just ensure the pure recovery, another 90 seconds left until we go again. So just remember, we start off with the sweet spot effort, so that should be manageable. Going back up to 90% of FTP. It's that VO2 max effort where you're gonna have to really dig deep, but you're equal to it. You just got to get yourself pumped up. You got to focus, forget everything else that's going on around you. Just get ready to do battle. Okay, let's start to bring our focus back to the session. Just over 30 seconds, so make sure your leg speed's back above 80 RPM if it's not already. Let's get ready to lift it back up to sweet spot. Okay, let's get ready to go. Here we are then, back up to sweet spot, round 2, up to around a 7 out of 10 effort, back up to 90% of the FTP, which means let's get that leg speed back above 90 RPM. Really rev it up, guys. You can do this. Keep relaxing the shoulders, save as much energy or release as much tension as you can through the sweet spot efforts. It's just going to give you a little bit extra juice for the VO2 max effort. Obviously we're here to work hard. We're also here to work sensibly and learn about conserving energy, and there's little things like just relaxing in the upper body. Just helps to open up the chest a little bit, allow you to breathe just a tiny bit easier. Just means that when you're on the rivet in those VO2 max intervals, you know, you're just a bit more kind of ready for it. You just got a little bit extra, that extra gear. That's really what cycling's about. Energy conservation and kind of saving it for when it really matters. Keep the leg speed above 90 RPM, remember. That's your goal. Erg mode, if you're using it, you have a smart trainer, well, that will be keeping control of the power. You just got to pedal up, but you can control your cadence. I want that well above 90 RPM. Okay, we're over halfway, well over halfway through the sweet spot interval. Hopefully reminding ourselves consistently to relax. It's not something you just do. You can't be relaxed all the time. You just got to keep reminding yourself. Right then, just last minute, a sweet spot. So put that leg speed back up, make sure it's back above 90 RPM if you've allowed it to drop a touch. And let's just start getting ourselves pumped, okay? It's a hard effort, but you can do this. You gotta kind of tap into what we call that angry power. That angry energy, okay? Let's get into it. Just start repeating any kind of positive message that you feel like. Just don't leave any room for qualification. So it's not you can do this, you're gonna do it, okay? Let's get ready to go. 20 seconds. Picking up the leg speeds a bit more. Getting ready for that power to feed in. And then us not allowing it to drag our leg speed down too much. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Here's the big one. Come on. Toughest interval of the session. Much easier after this. So don't throw anything back. Throw the kitchen sink at it, which is a British term. Don't know if that translates. Sorry, guys. Just means go all in. Don't hold back. Come on, push, 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 push. Nice high leg speed, well above 100 RPM. Already 30 seconds in. Can't drive it. Approaching a minute down. There we go. Come on, 2 minutes left of hard work. Come on, push, 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 push. Lift the leg speed. Get it 100 of 100. Do not let it drop. Yeah, that's halfway. Let's pick it up again. Come on. Let's drive it all the way to the finish of the interval. Just remember the purpose of the session. It's about being able to pick it up, getting into that angry power when you're already fatigued, you're already tired, just lifting it and driving it on. Such an important skill, such an important factor of fitness. 60 seconds, sorry, come on. Into the last 40. We're so close now. Do not give up. Do not allow that leg speed to drop. Final 30 seconds. Nearly at the end of the interval. Last 20. Push, push, push all the way to the end. Seconds. Nearly there. 3, 2, 1. And relax. Really well done. That is a beast. That is a tough effort, that second round. Don't be perturbed if you're knackered after that. Just spin up. Allow your breath to come back to you. Just be calm. Don't panic. Once you're ready, start to bring the leg speed back up above 80. Take time. Got plenty of recovery now before we get stuck into that final block. I'll leave it a little bit, actually. You don't want to think about that. I'll remind you what's coming up a bit closer. Just chill out. It's nothing worse than finishing an interval and then being told, oh, this is what you got next. When you're just trying to piece yourself back together. Just chill out. Got plenty of time. But done the lion's share, the really hard work now. It's just going to be about finishing it off with a bit of a flourish. Okay? So for a 65 TSS, this is a tough session. Leg speed back above 80 RPM, remember, pedaling nice and efficiently. Keeping the fluids coming on board. Getting ready to finish strong. It's the last 90 seconds of the recovery, so I'll share with you what we've got next. Hopefully you're feeling up to it. So guys, this final interval, we have got 3 minutes at what we call tempo, which is that zone 3, 80% of FTP, or kind of a 6 out of 10 effort, if you prefer to go by rate of perceived exertion. Okay, so 3 minutes at 80% of FTP. Then we crank up, back up to sweet spot, back up to 90% of FTP for another 3 minutes. And then, mercifully, we've just got the 1 minute VO2 max as we're setting up that final sprint. So just that 1 minute at 115% of FTP, and then that 20-second sprint. Don't think about it, just everything you got, full gas, and then you're done, okay? So thankfully, no long VO2 max efforts. It's just basically a sprint build. So just imagine it in context. Imagine we're building up to the finale of a race, okay? E-race or road race or a crit, okay? And we're in that steady build where things start to go a bit crazy. Everyone's all over the place. You're riding wheels, you're staying with the bunch, you're driving on, whatever. Imagine whatever context helps you get motivated. So a few seconds, pick up the leg speed, going back up to tempo, so we want to be above about 85 RPM. Here we go then, okay. So back up to 80% of FTP. Normally feels like a 6 out of 10, but might feel a bit harder than that with all the fatigue in your legs. So once you're up to power and above 85 RPM on the cadence, to start to relax again. Okay, I know you're tired and you just want to stop, but you just got to keep those legs ticking over nice and efficiently. Again, trying to conserve energy, being as efficient as possible, so that when we crank it up again, you just got that little bit extra juice than you might otherwise have, okay? So keep it efficient, keep it focused. You've not got long left of the session. So first minute down at tempo. There's the halfway point, 90 seconds left at 80% of FTP, 6 out of 10 effort, 85 RPM and above. And you can do this. Imagine that context I was talking about earlier. You're getting towards the end of a race. You're starting to build. Maybe the bunch has just been pootling around and suddenly they're switched on. They're not driving it hard just yet. They're just kind of just picking up the pace a little bit. And you're there riding the wheels for another minute, and then we're going to just drive it on a little bit as we go up to sweet spot. Okay, we're going to move to the front of the group, literally, or probably not literally in my case, as I'm drop my FTP right down to be able to talk to you. Alright, 30 seconds. Let's get ready to pick it up. Right, this is the final build of the session, and then that 65 TSS in the bag. A really good kind of training effect. Hopefully a big improvement in fitness. So let's get ready. 15. Here we go then, right up to sweet spot for the final time, up to 90% of FTP, 90 RPM and above, remember. So pick up that leg speed. Once you're up to speed, relax in the upper body, and let's just sort of time trial through this as we move to the front and drive things on in that kind of imaginary context until it really starts to kick off, and then we finish the job. So you're into the end game now, into the final section of the session. Let's finish off how we started. Absolute perfection, nice high leg speed. There's just 2 minutes left. The sweet spot. Stay strong, stay focused. Halfway, coming up to halfway through this sweet spot effort. Okay, you're approaching 30 seconds left to sweet spot. So let's just get really calm. Imagine that context in your head. All right, you're coming up towards the final K or so of the race. Things are about to really kick off. We're going to go up to VO2 max for 1 minute before we end it with that explosive finishing sprint before we take the win, okay? Always really helpful to imagine a context like that. Just gives your legs a little extra little G up. Makes a little bit of motivation. Okay, last few seconds, come on. Let's get ready for it. 3, 2, 1, pick it up now, come on. Pick up that leg speed, pick up the power. 1 minute here. We're setting up that finishing sprint. So nice high leg speed. We need a base to explode off of. "30 seconds, get ready, come on." "20, keep that leg speed nice and high, well above 100 RPM. It really matters so you've got somewhere to go when you've got the sprint in 10 seconds. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, come on, let's go. Big 20 seconds, come on, everything you got. Empty the tank. Halfway. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes. Well done. Really well done. Big effort. Well done, guys. So that's your first and very aggressive introduction to kind of VO2 max effort, and also finishing off with a little bit of a sprint. And as the sessions go, we kind of switch between threshold, VO2 max, sprint work, all of it aimed at kind of building as much strength as possible. And just remember, you really need to back up this training with a balanced program, so plenty of low intensity training as well to give you that endurance base. There is an article on our website about FTP and what it means. There's two elements. You've got the strength element that we've worked on in this session, and then you need to be doing that low intensity base training as well to kind of back it up so you can hold power for longer. Basically, that's what the base training is about, and teaching your body to burn more fat for energy, and it's building your aerobic fitness. Okay, as I say, just think of it as that low intensity base training is kind of there to try and help you hold these higher power efforts for longer. Okay, but you got a nice long cool down. Try to take all of the cool down. Always really important to have at least some cool down. Just brings your heart rate down, recycles some of the waste products built up in your muscles, and it just generally just gives you a moment of calm before you get on with the rest of your day. Opportunity to rehydrate as well. Hopefully you've got something left in your bottle. But get the fluids on board, get yourself a nice high protein meal after this to repair some of the muscle damage and to encourage some muscle repair. And have yourself a nice good old stretch. As we all often remind people about this, but there are stretch routines on our website. You go to the training resources section. Always really important to try and have a stretch after your session. Just helps you loosen up, releases tension, injury prevention benefits of course, and just helps you get to your next session feeling a little bit more free and just feeling better, generally less achy, less stiff. And it just means it's going to assist with your consistency. If you're getting to sessions feeling a bit better and more motivated, you're more likely to do them, and to do them with gusto, to do them in a high quality way. So the last 2 minutes just spinning down. Just remember, if you've got any questions, feel free to tap away or unmute yourself, but totally understand you're probably just extremely gassed after that. Let me just check feed state. But really well done, guys. That is a tough session in anyone's books, particularly doing those types of efforts in erg mode where you've got just no reprieve. When you do them out of erg mode, you can kind of surge and relax as your body wants to, albeit obviously still trying to hit that average power. But when you're in erg mode, it's just kind of, it's relentless. So that's why it's such a good conditioning tool. Not always appropriate. And again, we've got another article on our website called To Erg or Not to Erg, and it just kind of goes through what erg mode is, when it's appropriate, and when you really want to turn it off. So have a look at that as well. Let's come into the last 60 seconds, just chilling out. So that's come towards the end of this week's session. Next session you've got, we're hitting some more kind of sweet spot and VO2 max efforts, but it's a very different session. It's approaching it in a very different way. It's not kind of a smash fest as such. It's more of a, I guess there's more of a stamina, more of an endurance element to it. But all will be revealed in session 3 to come. The last 20 seconds. Let's take it nice and easy. And there you go. That is session 2 of the To the Limit series, our purest of pure conditioning series. Hope you enjoyed that, or in a kind of A-type personality way. But really well done, guys. That's a tough set, so you should be chuffed with yourself getting through that. Really well done. If you've got any questions after the session, please always feel free to drop us an email or send us a message on social media. But otherwise, guys, have a great day. Really well done.